One of the first videos I ever created on this channel was about language learning. Learning foreign languages always had a sweet spot in my heart, so I decided to elaborate on the topic a bit more. When you travel, knowing English and trusting that it would be enough is great. Though sometimes the knowledge of the language spoken in your destination country is very important and sometimes much needed. Even if it is a few basic phrases, they might save you on the go. Over the years, I have been learning various foreign languages. I have tried many methods and eventually developed my own. So today, I want to share my own method on how I learn languages. My method consists of 3 stages. The first thing you need is something to start with. I like to refer to it as the springboard. You need some basic words and the most common verbs. There is a lot of ways how to do this first stage. There are many apps you can use or websites, or if you like books, the market is pretty wide and you can go to your nearest bookstore and see if something catches your eye. Though my favorite way of going through the first level is Duolingo. Before you turn off this video, I know that there is quite a controversial feeling about whether Duolingo is actually helpful or a waste of time. But let me tell you this. When starting to learn any language, you don't know a single word. Duolingo is actually an amazing tool. At the beginning, you will go through the very basics. You will learn how to conjugate the most basic verbs. You will learn some essential words, and yes, maybe you will learn some useless words too, but hey, take it as fun, and when you feel like it, and feel you're ready enough, follow through onto the next level. And if Duolingo is really not your cup of tea, then just don't do it and find yourself a different way of how to do the springboard phase. The second stage is watching movies and series. Watching movies or series in the language you want to learn is one of the greatest things you can do. You will probably just now say that you can't really do that unless you're pretty fluent. Well, that is only if you want to understand all the details and nuances. I actually started doing this very early on in my language learning journey. I want to know how the language is spoken by natives, the intonation, and how it overall flows. For me, that is something very important, because when I learn a new language, I am trying to sound as natural as possible and as close to a native speaker as I can. In my opinion, you need to get an ear for the language. And I can promise you that unless you decide to watch some philosophical series or very complicated topic movies, that you would have problems understanding even in your native language. Over time, you will begin to notice that you're catching some basic phrases, mostly the greetings and things like thank you, sorry, or I don't know. And that's the beginning, really. It's really important that this happens, and it will improve over time, and it's a great stage, and I actually love this one because yes, you can guilt-free spend time watching series because you are learning actually. Also, this stage is very important for stage number 3, talking with yourself. Now, I know it might sound completely crazy. Just talking to yourself? What the hell do I mean? But actively using the language is the best way in how to actually learn it. Believing that you will learn through studying lists of vocabulary and school tests and exams, no, that doesn't work. My advice is, don't overthink this step. Maybe go for a walk, preferably somewhere where you won't meet other people. There is a less chance on being profoundly embarrassed. Oh, I can tell you it happened to me more than once, that people just appeared out of nowhere and gave me really weird looks. Like, is she really talking to herself? Or what the hell is she doing? But the technique is so effective, I do it anyway, despite the risks. If you don't want to go outside, that's fine, completely. Stay at home. I simply prefer to go outside to get some fresh air as a bonus, but it's not mandatory. You can very much do this from the comfort of your own home. Now, let me tell you the harsh truth. At the start, you will be very, very bad. Like very, very, very bad. Sometimes you will put only a few words together. Sometimes you will maybe remember just one word, then maybe one sentence. Some days you will remember only the greetings. And sometimes it will be so bad you will be very frustrated. Don't be hard on yourself, it's a process. That's my advice. Remember, it takes time, and really, really don't punish yourself for not having a great day. Now it's kind of very useful and helpful that if you continue watching some series or movies, you will see that you're picking up more and more, and your little self-conversations will improve. And that's a great step. Because if you develop a habit of actually talking to yourself on walks or at home, it really helps you. Because the active using of the language is something that will help you progress so much faster than anything else. Now, do you think you're ready for the next step? Well, reading a book. That's my final task in the language learning journey. This is especially great when you somewhat know what is going on in the language already and now you want to go deeper. Reading a book at that moment is the best thing you can do. Trust me. You're in a stage when you need to widen your vocabulary and also see how the words are written. In your self-conversations, you are now able to do some basic discussions, and reading a book or any text will help you a lot. And now there are two options on how to do this. You can read it and translate, well, only when you need it, or read and translate everything you don't know. I personally prefer the first method. I rarely translate. I simply trust that over time I will guess the meaning of the words I don't yet know. And you might say that's completely crazy and there is no way that could work, but it does. Most of the time. You will soon find that there are these words that repeat all the time and that you don't know them. The book will not explain them to you and they will begin to annoy you. So these words I will run through a translator. But that's a very small part actually. The other way is to go and translate every single word you don't know. I've tried this some time ago. Actually, when I first began reading foreign language books, I was told that if I stick through the tough part of translating almost every word, I will find out that by the end of the book, I don't need to translate much at all. Well, the truth is, firstly, it sounds like a lot of work and no fun. And it's true. It's very boring and tedious. And in my opinion, you are very, very likely to get frustrated very, very soon and throw the book away. And the idea of learning a new language with it. For me, it's not really worth it. I feel like if you are reading a book, it actually has to feel like you are reading it and not studying from it like from a textbook. Reading a book is supposed to be fun and not a chore. Anyway, reading a book helps so much in understanding the different tenses and how the grammar works, which, apart from being able to speak, is another important part in using a foreign language. There is another piece of advice when it comes to reading a book. You need to choose the right book. There are books that are very important to get through, and there are books that are very easy and they have all the words you will need in a day-to-day life. You kind of need to choose a book where there is conversational language, not some overcomplicated detective stories or sci-fi, maybe not even some high fantasy, because those are usually packed with very specific words and sometimes even made-up words, and that complicates things. So my advice is use some fiction book that is from day-to-day life, maybe some romance or a usual story kind of book. Those have proven to be the best, in my view. Now for the final piece of advice from me. Practice until you die. Well, not literally, I'm a bit over-exaggerating it. You know, when it comes to learning a language, people sometimes tend to believe that you need to be born with some specific skill set or talent. It's not really true. More often than not, I find that those who speak more than one foreign language, or one but on a stellar level, it is not because they have been born lucky. It's usually after talking to them for some time, you will discover that they work on their language skills very regularly. And that is the key. It's not like with riding a bike. Once you get the hang of it, it gets engraved in your brain, and ta-da! You will now know how to ride a bike for the rest of your life. With languages, it unfortunately doesn't work that way. You need to practice and keep on practicing, because if you stop, you will inevitably forget. It's unfortunate, but it's very true. I so hope you enjoyed this video of mine. Let me know if it helped you. If you have questions or something to say, leave it in the comments down below. And now, let me wish you an amazing rest of the day or night, and I will see you again soon. Bye!